Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the um, Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling Review Series for the 31st of July, 1982. We've got everything that's available up to this point as far as Mid Atlantic on the network is up here. Obviously, we're going to run through 86, but that'll take us a little bit. We'd like to get through that easily by within the next month or so, but who knows what my schedule will allow. Anyway, Dave Patterson comes out and he wants leadership from the House of Humperdinck. Also, Ivan Koloff is out and he's promising Russian chain matches, cage matches, and other things. But also, Humperdinck says that Koloff's talking about wanting the glove, and there is a return to the glove, the Russian glove, which later becomes the coal miner's glove, and that is a match that seems to be introduced here. I don't know if it's the first time, probably not. Don't know my history well enough into the 70s and earlier to know that, but Ivan Koloff bringing about the glove and bringing that into matches with Handsome Jimmy Valiant at house shows, and a pretty big thing. House of Humperdinck is rolling along. Leroy Brown, Ivan Koloff, and all other points in between. Pretty aggressive here. Then we go into the first match of the day, which is Rick Steamboat against Juan Ronesto. Ronesto is a Latin American star. Steamboat, of course, a pretty major star at the time. We see Steamboat take some side headlock takeovers. Ronesto has been here before. We haven't seen too much of him. Steamboat, though, trying to show a 5 o'clock shadow, a little bit of a beard, mustache. Different bit of a look for Ricky Steamboat than the clean-shaven guy we've seen before. Not that there was ever a plan for him to go heel, but Steamboat holds on to a reverse chin lock, basic stuff, and doesn't get everything he wants out of the run here. Punches and stuff. Ronesto allowed to stand toe-to-toe with Steamboat. Punches and chops between the two men. Pretty aggressive, assertive, as it were. And Steamboat takes the man down eventually. Steamboat goes to the top rope with the crossbody and gets the victory. Obviously, Steamboat still being primed for matches with Ric Flair. That's talked about. And obviously, they have a history going back to the 70s. Talking about Flair is a pretty big thing, as Flair is your world's champion. Also, they're talking about a match where Flair's teaming up with Piper, which is a forthcoming deal here. Tag team matchup next, and Paul Jones and Jake Roberts against Dave Patterson and Ken Timms. Paul Jones has not transitioned into managing yet. I think that's 84, 85, something like that. But anyway, Dave Patterson, Ken Timms, a pretty regular team. They take down Jake Roberts a little bit. Roberts comes in after Jones starts early. Timms is put to be competitive with Roberts, and with Roberts being a little thinner. Not exactly sure that I agree with that assessment, but it is what it is, and that's what they do. So, who am I to say? But anyway, Patterson more the brawler, Timms more the wrestler, and they actually have a pretty competitive match for the first little while. Jones comes back in more the brawler. Jake Roberts actually has a little bit more wrestling technique than he does at the time, and enhancement talent match things here. Bill White wearing glasses, talking about not being intimidated by Wahoo McDaniel, and Tim Dalton is his tag team partner for later in the day. We move to the next in the series of matches, which happens to be Leroy Brown and King Parsons. Leroy Brown dressed in all black, kind of basically not too terribly worried about the various challenges that are about to come his way. Some brawling by Leroy, and Leroy trying to get advantages wherever he can, when he can. Parsons does hit a good drop kick, but Leroy Brown using his size and the, advice, counsel of none other than the House of Humperdinck to get him an advantage. Also, Iceman King Parsons tries to go back in and do a crossbody from the middle rope. Botch spot there as they just kind of go back into the ropes, and eventually Leroy Brown continues to brawl on him. Leroy not exactly a championship level collegiate athlete, but eventually with a big slam and a splash and a 1-2-3 for Leroy Brown, doing better under the tutelage of the adversary there. The Ninja has joined the House of Humperdinck at ringside. Slaughter again reiterating the fact that Piper and Flair teaming up gets the attention off of his championship belt, so he's happy with that, even if other people are not. Then we go to, as mentioned, another tag team match in the series here, which happens to be uh, Gene Anderson, Matt Bourne, and Sergeant Slaughter against Davis, Ron Ritchie, and Mike Rotundo. Six-man tags just to kill time. They are not just a thing in the modern day. They seem to be a thing in the old days too. Slaughter as your U.S. champion. Weird to see him not teaming with his privates, but Bourne very aggressive, almost looking like a wild man. Lots of speed from Bourne, punch, kick, knee drops, and the like. Bourne trying to get as much of an advantage as he possibly can, as quickly as he can. Gene Anderson coming back with that tandem does seem kind of odd and out of place. Anderson doesn't do a heck of a lot. The babyfaces get a momentary cutoff before the heel team takes back over. And the match is here more predominantly than anything else to cut time. Slaughter eventually takes over and hits the clothesline and the Cobra Clutch and gets a victory for his team. We move into Ken Timms and Dave Peterson talking about being able to handle anything that is thrown at them. That's probably not the best in series of things to be saying, but we move to Dalton and White versus Briscoe and Wahoo. Dalton and White basically, White specifically saying he's not all that intimidated by Wahoo by any stretch of the imagination. Arm drags by Briscoe in basic maneuvers. White going toe to toe with Wahoo, actually having cut a promo earlier in the day where he basically claims that Wahoo had been very little challenge to him. White takes the majority of the match in there, including with Briscoe and Wahoo, but eventually the big Native American team gets the victory, chops, and the friendship between the two and the money that Piper basically stole from them, not a big deal to Jack Briscoe or Wahoo McDaniels as they close the show. We'll be back with more right after this.